What's up, guys and gals? This is video number 6, and it is now 11/24 of 2020. Good old November 24th. It is 12:04 in the morning. So some of you, this is probably your late night. Some of you, this is a really early morning. But anyhow, this video was going to take off in Fife, Washington, but I had a load that after I brought those generators up from Dallas, was going to take 30 minutes to put a video together discussing that. But I got on the phone with an agent that had a load that I really wanted, that was paying a lot of money, going pretty good distance. It was about a $4,000 load. Unfortunately, they put down that it was not a flat bed hotshot load, that it was just for a regular 48 foot. So instead of letting the door close there, the magical question you always ask is, hey, is there anything else that I could haul for you guys? And she was like, literally, I just posted something to the load board, and if you want to take it, you are right about the area. You'd have to go about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours south of you to pick it up, but it's going 74 miles and it's paying right under $1,000. I think the way bill came out to $950 and whatnot. So the load only was 900 pounds, and it was for a power company. So got down here after I unloaded at Fife at the warehouse up there, turned and burned, got down to Portland, loaded this, it was just like a structural beam for like a cell phone tower for the power company, and snagged that thing. It literally was, I was in and out of there within 10 minutes. He was ready to go. The agent said I probably wouldn't be able to deliver until the 24th, about 8 o'clock in the morning. I got down here and it was 4:10, and I arrived at the receiver and just happened to knock on their door and give them a call. And they were like, hey, yeah, we're here till 4:30, 4:45. And if it's just that one piece you got on there, we can get that off. Takes a couple minutes, we'll do it. So got that off, and that was down in Albany. So like I said, from Portland down there, it was literally like 70 or 74 miles to make almost $1,000 revenue. And then got over here to the Love's truck stop in Millersburg, which is 5 to 7 miles up the road from where I dropped off. Got in early, because like I said, I dropped off and was out of there by probably 4:25, something like that. Made a really quick drop, got up here, actually got a parking spot. Unlike Fife, I had to go to a Walmart parking lot and go park up against a couple of their tractor trailers that were nudged in there. Landstar has their whole sitting duck policy, so do not park on the side of the street or anywhere, because somebody sees that, they will report you, and your lease will be terminated. So I was super thankful, got in here. Pretty much been bored ever since. I already got my sleep in. I still got another few hours before agents on the East Coast are going to be up putting some freight on the load board. So I'll probably get a couple hours of sleep after this video, and then be back up and at it to grab something else. Trying to get home for Thanksgiving is my plan, and then maybe go through the weekend and then kick off that following Monday. And I'm going to work until about 4 days before Christmas, and then I'll come home. So yeah, just a recap of the loads. Fife, Washington was a headache. I did not think it was going to be that difficult. When I got there, I was told, when I called in to let them know that I'd be arriving, she's like, all right, awesome, just come to bay, up towards door 1, we'll get you handled. When I got up there, it said that I needed to call again, so I called them. They were telling me to back into a ramp, it was like door 19 or something, and that they would offload them to the warehouse there. I'm like, I've never done that. I can back it in if that's where you guys seriously are going to unload, but it literally was a ramp for the forklift. So I'm like, why? That person did not know what the heck they were talking about. Then a guy on a forklift came over, and another guy from the warehouse came over. One told me to go one way, the other told me the other way. So I was just like, where do you guys need me? Just tell me. Just tell me. I've been told, and they're like, oh, well, we're sorry, you know, you keep getting this information, but we have a flatbed, like an awning deal. And so go park over there and then walk your paperwork up. So I did all that. Paperwork took like 25 minutes to do. Was quite the process for me being the only one in there. And then let's see, we left the receiving office and got unstrapped and got the chains and everything off the load. And then the forklift driver, I always have been a firm believer in documenting and covering your ass, even when you're a company driver, because the liability always comes back to the driver. Everybody likes to say, oh, the driver damaged it, and sometimes drivers are at fault, yes, but going through orientation, they, you know, can't stress it enough, like, you're your own owner operator. A lot of this shit falls on us, and when something screws up, you know, and gets dinged on our part, then sorry about that, the lights are timing out, but anyway, you know, if something comes back, they have up to, I think, 6 months or a year or something like that to claim damages on freight that we've hauled. So for us, it's kind of unfair. Once, you know, we drop the product off and they check and receive and say, hey, it's good, we got it, it wasn't, you know, damage. If they find something afterwards, then they can come after us and play the whole, you know, BS game of, oh, there's a scratch here or whatever. So when people are unloading you, needless to say, watch them, take pictures before, you know, when you get your load, take photos, show that it's secured. That way you just have it, just in case something happens, and you can show that you weren't at fault, right? So with this load, I did that, exactly that. Took pictures once I got it loaded. I actually noticed from where I picked it up at the warehouse that one of the wheel hub, like where you would grease the hubs on those little trailer mount deals, the cover was completely smashed in. I'm like, hey, like I don't want that to be blamed on me. These are brand new going out, you know, can that be replaced here or whatever? And the guy was like, oh, he's like, I didn't see that, I'm glad you caught it, because that could be, you know, flipped on you guys. I was like, yeah, like I just wanted to make sure, if not I was going to take pictures and note it. So anyway, we get up here, forklift driver picks up the first trailer mounted generator, and I don't know if he's a new forklift driver, if his head was in a different spot there, but he ended up picking it up. And being a trailer mounted, they have those big square trailer lights right at the back, and what does he do? He smashes that thing into the back of the other one and breaks the, like, it doesn't chip out, but it puts a huge crack through the tail light lens. And I was like, hey dude, like, you know, and he's like, oh, I'm just trying to be safe. And I'm like, no, like, you literally just ran it into that other one. And luckily he didn't try to play any BS games, because I was already out there with my phone. As soon as he set it down, taking pictures, got the VIN number for the trailer and the generator, and marked it on the BOL. And when, you know, he already signed it saying that it was his, you know, that he was taking it, it's liable for anything coming off of the trailer. And then after that, I made notation on my BOL and put cracked tail light lens by forklift operator, made him sign it again, date it, all that crap, because like I said, at the end of the day, if they can come back and blame us, they're going to. You know, so always cover your ass. I took pictures, like I said, sent it to the agent. The agent just wanted the photos, was super happy that I documented it the way that I did. And then getting in the truck, I was like, man, doesn't feel like that was enough. Always cover your ass, especially with Landstar. If, you know, you get a BCO advisor, I called them. I'm like, hey, so I had this happen with the cargo. Is there anything else I should do? He's like, yeah, you need to call the cargo claims, cargo claims. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I called them. They were super awesome about it. It was a very, very fast process. They wanted to know, did I contact the agent? Did I let them know? Did I take pictures? Did I have, you know, mark on the BOLs? And I was like, I did all the above. and then some. And so they're like, awesome, like, you handled that. Just send us, same information that you sent the agent, so that we have it on file. And we'll just mark it down as that there's an incident, not on you, but that it happened on a load that you delivered. And that way there's a paperwork trail, and it shows that there's some accountability that was already taken. Shows good initiative as us as drivers to not, even if it was our fault, just to make sure that that stuff's documented. So with this, it just the transparency, it's how we keep our clients, our customers, our agents, when if people get caught up in damaging freight and then lying about it, we're going to lose freight. Definitely not the name of the game out here. Honesty and transparency. And the agent that I used before, getting this load was super awesome. When I got unloaded, he called and was like, hey, do you want, could I find you another load? And I was like, actually, I found one, but thank you. And I told him I'd just keep his, Landstar gives us this cool little book right here. It's a trip recorder. And there tells you the trip, the agent code, all that stuff that you could ever want to write down about picking up a load, your freight bill, the commodity, all that stuff. So next time you're in an area, it's a good resource to look back on. And, if you're stuck, or if they have really good freight and you're not seeing the freight on the load board, good option to call them back. It's another resource, because the load board, most of our good freight is not on the load board. It's already being claimed before it hits that. And why do you want to be in the Shark Tank, trying to eat a few guppies that are in the tank with 500 other sharks in the same pool of water? So it's a good resource to document and record that. And I will definitely be doing work with that agent again. It was a really good experience, especially being my first load, and the process was pretty flawless. I mean, cut and dry. He answered all my questions that I had. I don't think there was a single one that I had to go to my BCO about, my advisor, asking him about anything like that. So yeah, other than that, super happy that I was able to get this power company load off today, or yesterday now. And because that gives me time for when the load boards open up on the East Coast, or the agents that are over there, that I can get some freight booked and not have to wait until 8 o'clock in the morning here to go meet the receiver and drop that deal off. So I'm ready to start my day fresh and whatnot. What else can I talk about? Let's do a recap on the truck. So the truck, let's look here. The truck has 9,504 miles on it now. There are some things with this truck I like, and there are some things with this truck that I do not like. As you guys know, if you watch the previous videos, it is a 2020 Ram 3500 ISN transmission. Has super low gears. It's the 410 gears in this thing. When you're under a load, especially since I live up around the Northwest, I figured, being new to Hot Shot, that this is probably the area that I would work mostly out of. Not necessarily the case. I'm kind of gearing myself over towards the Midwest after I leave here and get through Thanksgiving and whatnot. A lot more freight for us over in that general direction that pays a lot better. So the truck, like I said, has 9,500 miles on it now. It has had a couple issues with it going into gear, and I don't know if that's because the 6-speed transmission does not link well with the 410 gears, but there have been times I've tried to get up and around a vehicle to pass, or just trying to downshift to get up a hill, and this thing goes into like complete lag mode. Like I could put my foot all the way to the floor and it's not doing anything. Before all the haters like, oh, it's a Dodge thing, like this has happened on other vehicles I've owned too. I don't know if it's just under a load, that it just reacts that way, or what's going on. I contacted the guy that did the upfitting for us at the Dodge dealership there in Nampa, Idaho, and he said that he would look into it, see if there's any troubleshooting or recalls or anything that would relate, if anybody else has had similar issues, to maybe come up with a fix, or if this is just something that's going to work out if the computer programming, I'd think after 9,500 miles that it'd kind of figure that out. But yeah, outside of that, the truck has been great. There's been a couple times where I've gotten like, swooping highway corners or something, and I'll try to get into a downshift. It won't downshift right away. It kind of stalls for a second. There is a gear limit, these buttons right here, and I've had to punch those down a couple times in order to get this thing to kick down. Outside of that, 410 gears, super low for highway. When I'm unloaded or not very heavy and I'm trying to scoot, able to do, through Idaho, you can get 75, 80 miles an hour. And I think it's actually 75. Yeah, probably 75. We'll go with that. Anyway, being over 70 miles an hour, this thing's at like 22 to 2400 RPM. So for a diesel pickup, this thing redlines at 3100. Most guys with 373 gears I talked to said that, yeah, cruising down the highway, they're at like 1600 to 1800 RPM. So under a load, going up and down the mountain passes and everything through Oregon, over the Blues and Snoqualmie over here in Washington, this thing was phenomenal. 410 gears. I mean, even with snow on the road and everything, or even when it was just slush or water. Yesterday when I was driving up here, it was amazing at how well this thing maintained 45, 55 miles an hour until I had to slow down because of the snow. But previous, doing the heavy haul stuff, even unloaded, there's times I was coming over those passes with nothing on with my other company, and that was, I was down to like 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour going up that. And the stretch of mountains, it's 20, 30 miles up and down, or whatever, that turns out to being like a 2-hour trip. Hello, FedEx. But yeah, it was nice to actually be in a hot shot that I could move and get up and over those things, because that was one thing I dreaded being in a bigger truck, is those mountains just lagged the truck out, and all I could think about is how hard that is on those things. Like, seriously, I was just like, that's not good. But yeah, outside of that, the trip was super smooth coming over here. Those were the only concerns with the truck. The truck, for being a tradesman, cloth interior, this stuff, it's actually fairly comfortable. Not to say that here in the next 20 to 30,000 miles that these seats and stuff are going to break down a little bit, since you live out of the hot shop and whatnot. But as far as right now, man, yeah, this thing is super comfortable. Coming here, I got great fuel mileage. I was 11 miles per gallon, and I had almost 4,000 pounds of freight on the back, which granted isn't a lot, but when you got 4,000 pounds of freight plus a almost 8,000 pound trailer with your gear in it, that's pretty impressive in my mind. Going through New Mexico, when I got loaded with this stuff, we had a headwind, and this thing ate diesel like crazy. I think I was at like 6.6 or 6.9 miles per gallon. So on 52 gallons, it was showing that I was only getting like 360 miles to the entire tank. It was not good. Right now I'm up above 500 miles, for the tank or whatever. It's like 560, something like that. So that was super awesome. Big shout out to Evan over at Peterson. He's the fleet manager guy there that gets these trucks sent off to the upfitters. I had an issue, I don't know if you guys remember me talking about it from my first videos, but the auxiliary fuel tank. I have like a pump on it and everything to pump the 85 gallons of auxiliary diesel into the truck. and that pump went out on the second load that I discharged out of this thing. Not happy about it. It was super shitty. So yeah, ended up reaching out to Evan over there at Peterson. He talked to the outfitters and he was like, hey, look, my guy I just bought, came in here and got this truck, whatever. That went out, and no hesitation at all. Like later that afternoon, he was like, hey, whenever you can come in. He's like, that pumps up my desk. So I ended up having my fiance go pick it up this week, and I swapped it out. And then he was like, yeah, just, come Monday, like today or tomorrow, she'll run it back over to the dealership and he'll take it back to the outfitters. But it was a smooth process. Evan has taken amazing care of us, has answered a lot of questions. Like I said, he's been engaged and involved with the progress of this truck. He wants to know how things are going with it. My 30 days after I purchased it, he was like, hey, congrats on having it for a month. How's it going? Is there things you like, things you dislike? There's definitely some other features. This is just starting out. Didn't want anything super high tech or fancy. Now that I'm living in this thing, I'd be like, it'd be great to have full size screen, dual monitor deal. Like there's nicer trim packages, and when you're living out of that stuff, a lot of guys are like, just get the bare basic, and that's great if you're starting out, save cost wise and stuff. But to have some luxury to it, especially if you're on the road a lot and you're not just doing a Monday to Friday thing, you're staying out for weeks at a time and whatnot, it's kind of nice to have little fancier things, I suppose. But outside of that, this thing's been a workhorse. It's the only diesel that I've actually owned. I hear guys, other hotshot guys come up and they're like, oh, why do you have a Ram? Why didn't you go with a Ford? Or why did you buy a Chevy? And to each their own. If I could have bought a Ford, that's the direction that we would have went, due to the fact a lot of people are talking about the 10-speed transmission, and those things are just superb. Highway as far as fuel consumption and towing, but those trucks are like 7,000 to 10,000 pounds heavier than this truck. So like I said, starting out, I've always been a Cummins type of guy. Always loved Dodge, Ram, pickups. So this is just kind of the way that we went. Going forward, we might try something else, and it may be way better. I've yet to test drive a new F350, and like I said, they're all good trucks. They all have their pros and they have their cons. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna end this video, and if I don't do another one before Thanksgiving, definitely happy Thanksgiving to all those who are following this page. If you know anybody that's looking to get into this business, definitely refer them to this page, because this has a lot of the do's and don'ts, and my trials as far as up and going and getting started to being successful. There's already talks with my business partner with the revenue, even on these 2 loads that we have created, that here in the next 3 months we're looking to add a flatbed and like a bigger truck. I have a really good friend of mine that's interested in coming over to Landstar and driving for us. I know in the beginning we might start out just hauling van trailers until we save up a little bit more revenue, and then buy him a flatbed, because that's ultimately what he wants to do. Load board is filled with stuff. If you get into the RGN things, flatbed stuff, there's so much money in it for those guys. I just have a friend that's like, hey, if the money is good and we can make this thing work, he's like, I'd rather work for you than a major company, and that speaks volumes. So here's one of my really good friends that when I lived in Corpus Christi, I met him through a car club that I started down there. I've had a lot of people still reach out to me, and the experience that they had doing that, and we had a small business down there with a custom build shop and everything. And just the public relation, there's a lot of people who are like, man, I would come and work for you. So it's one of those things where if you take care of your people, your customers, that in turn, I never knew that it would be an option or even talk about later on in life to have you know, this guy would be like, hey, I want to, you know, come work for you if we can work something out. So it's a super awesome opportunity. And here at Landstar, you know, that you can grow, you can be your own just sole owner operator, you can start building your fleet. And I'm kind of thinking going down the fleet line of things. I don't want to get over like 10 trucks or anything crazy. You know, I think 2 or 3 trucks to manage for myself, 2 or 3 trucks for my business partner, Christina, to manage, and you know, we'll just go from there and whatnot. But so far it's been a good experience. I'm definitely learning this stuff firsthand, so that way when we go to hire drivers, I can give, you know, the whole talk of I've been there, I've done that, I'm still learning, we'll always be learning. And but that way I, you know, can help those guys get started and actually say I've been in your shoes. Trucking is forever changing. You know, if you look at when our parents, our grandparents started trucking, it's not the same then. I mean, things happen a lot more rapidly. Loads, we're not looking at pay phones to call, you know, a broker or an agent or, you know, a customer even. We're able to do it from the palm of our hand with our cell phones, our tablets, stuff like that. So yeah, the world's moving at a lot faster rate, and you know, trucking's not going anywhere. It's one of the most versatile and viable parts of America, and pretty much anywhere. If you're trying to get goods in and out, you got to have a truck. So yeah, a lot of people that understand that concept, or, you know, really come to light. It's like when trucks shut down and a grocery store stopped getting filled, products, you know, tires, lumber, all that stuff just doesn't get delivered. And if you live, you know, in like the interior states, if you will, even like where I live in Idaho, when things shut down due to COVID, like we were hit super hard, like there was nothing. And, you know, if you weren't near places that were manufacturing it, you're like the last one to get anything if it made it out of there, because the demand's so high around you that it flies off the shelves. So, you know, just something, food for thought there that I'll leave you with. But yeah, so again, happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate everybody that's following me on this page. I'm gonna try and find maybe somebody that I can hire to put my videos together a little bit better. So they're not just so boring of me just sitting in places and whatnot. I meant to get some pictures of freight and what have you, but yeah, this load didn't work out like that. I had to turn and burn and get down here to Portland and then get it delivered over here to Albany, Oregon. So yeah, but yeah, again, happy Thanksgiving to all you guys, and stay safe, stay with your loved ones. Hopefully you're all happy, healthy, and doing well. And if you have anybody that, you know, kind of how I leave off every video, if you got somebody that's interested in hotshot trucking, refer them to my page. This has pretty much everything for a new person starting up, kind of the things you'll go through, especially if you're coming over to Landstar. If you need me to reach out, you know, I can give you a call. I can do lots of different things. Just comment down below, subscribe, like it if you like it. You know, if you want to see some more content of something else, please comment down below or reach out to me. I'd be happy to, you know, put together something to, you know, I guess push along the page and show you guys what you're really wanting to see. This is basically just a little vlog or journal of my startup. So, I mean, I can gear it towards individual topics, because there's things that you guys, you know, think about that I don't when I get put on the spot to do these videos. So I'm just like, But yeah, y'all take care, and I'll catch you on the next video. So